Hey everyone, Redden here, and thank you for coming. And today, we're going to be taking a deeper look at episode 5 of season 1 of Marvel Studios' The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Welcome back everyone, and after another week of sitting around on pins and needles, it's finally that time again. Leading up to this week's episode, there had been a ton of hype and speculation online regarding who the secret cameo in episode 5 might be, as several sources had indicated that there would be one. So for me, my anticipation has been at an all-time high, as I didn't want to have any theory of my own that I leaned on too heavily, as the painful memories of being wrong oh so many times with Wandavision are still lingering around for most of us. And what a way to start the episode off. Coming off of last week, it was obvious that the show had to deliver big in terms of a follow-up, and in the first 6 minutes, I was already sold. Coming off of the mid-season sneak peek trailer Marvel released earlier in the week, we already knew in the last 2 episodes there would be some sort of showdown between Walker, Bucky, and Sam, but I really wasn't expecting it to open episode 5.
You don't want to do this.
Yeah, we do.
This fight scene was everything. It was awesome seeing John spiral into chaos finally come to a head. And finally him jump off the deep end completely in between trading blows. And I must say, knowing full well most fans won't want to admit this, but the proof is in the pudding. John Walker fared very well against Bucky and Sam in my opinion, actually managing to knock both out at one point or another, which was very shocking to me for Bucky, as I suspect it'll only add more fuel to the fire for those people who believe the MCU has increasingly nerfed Bucky since Winter Soldier. But it also speaks volumes to the actual prowess of John Walker. As we know, retroactively, he was considered the best of the best even prior to the shield and the serum. The fight choreography here was incredibly well done, and I feel that the show did a really good job of capturing and highlighting the individual fighting styles of the 3 combatants, as Sam hung in there pretty well with 2 super soldiers up until his wings were clipped. Well, ripped. All that to say, this might be one of my favorite MCU fight scenes to date. And that's saying something, as we've seen some pretty amazing stuff over the years. The show continued to lay it on thick with the imagery, as after the fight for a moment, I really thought Bucky was going to take the shield for himself, but then he dropped it next to Sam, kinda in a way like, damn dude, here, and don't give it away again. This fight scene to me in many ways mirrored the one we saw end in Civil War with Tony, Steve, and Bucky. And we even got the return of Torres, who I was happy to see, as I still have a bit of hope that we might see a bit more comic interaction here with him possibly getting wings of his own at some point. And now that Sam's have been destroyed and he told Torres to keep them, I was kinda expecting for him to maybe hook them up and give them back to Sam all fixed up with a new Captain America like theme maybe at this point.
Wait, yo, you forgot the wings.
Keep 'em.
It was also nice to see the return of Olivia Walker at John's court date, as I had expected to see more of her since their debut a few episodes back. I must also say that, for the most part, John Walker's testimony was a bit heart-wrenching to me. It seemed really jacked up that they just decided to strip him of everything and leave him with nothing, even going so far as to say he wouldn't hold any rank in retirement or receive any benefits. He did murder a guy in cold blood in the middle of a packed town square, but Wyatt Russell's portrayal of John Walker has really been one that almost leaves you empathetic of what the character is going through. And in a scene I'm sure everyone will be talking about and dissecting for the next week, we got the MCU debut of Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, as she pulls up on Olivia and John, portrayed by none other than 11-time Emmy Award winning actress Julia Louis-Dreyfus, one of the most decorated actresses in American television history. I was honestly floored by this, as normally when castings of certain status take place, they leak to the public in one way or another. But this was a complete shock to me, as I hadn't heard anything about her possible involvement in the show. Her character Val has gone by many names in the comics, ranging from Agent 14 to Madam Hydra, and she's got ties with several of the MCU's spanning heroes. So this was a pretty awesome introduction, having been a loyal original SHIELD operative under Nick Fury for some time. It was revealed she was actually a Russian sleeper agent the entire time, and after curtailing a war between between Leviathan and Hydra, she surrendered herself to Interpol. Her interactions in this scene with Walker and Olivia were golden, and I'm very intrigued to see how she will be used in the show as we see her woo and swoon John Walker here in his time of need, leaving him with a blank card, which I'm sure at the right moment will give him all the information he needs to contact her going forward. And along with rampant other theories, there's a prevalent one that believes Val is actually the power broker, which doesn't seem to me, honestly, given her history as Madam Hydra and her dealings in Spyfair, to be a bad one. As many of us guessed last week, I suspected that Zemo wasn't taking off to pursue Carly. But better yet, to make good on the moment in the show earlier where he accosted Sam and Bucky and everyone else for not having visited the memorial for Sokovia in the aftermath of Age of Ultron, which is where Bucky finds him in this episode. I can't say that Zemo's character played out to the end that I foresaw, but I did like the way they decided to take this, having Bucky pull the trigger only to reveal the bullets in his hand, followed by the arrival of the Dora. This moment carried all the way I believe the showrunners intended, as it was Bucky letting Zemo know that he's not just some ruthless killer anymore, as Zemo has suggested several times. It makes sense that given Bucky's allegiances to Wakanda, he would give them a call once he figured out where the Baron was. Although it doesn't seem to have cleared his ledger just yet, as Ayo tells him to be scarce in Wakanda for a while, which I took to mean he still has a home there, but that he should just let the current heat he has die down, having freed King T'Chaka's killer.
It would be prudent to make yourself scarce in Wakanda for the time being, White Wolf.
Fair enough.
This moment was also key in that Ayo tells Bucky they'll be taking Zemo to the raft, which is really just a show telling us that we can't expect to see Zemo later in the Thunderbolts series, as the raft is basically Thunderbolt Ross's main base. So we will be seeing the Baron again very soon, along with John Walker, I imagine, as I also believe he'll be a part of the Thunderbolts as well. What I wasn't expecting was what happened next, as we see Bucky ask Ayo for one last favor, which we don't see the follow-up to, but all of us pretty much assumed it was going to be the Wakandans helping out with Sam's now destroyed wings.
Hey, I may have another favor to ask of you.
Which they clearly did, as later in the episode we see Bucky arrive with a case for Sam.
Just dropping this off. You can sign for it and I'll go.
This case is very similar to the one we saw Bucky receive his vibranium arm in back in Infinity War, so we can only assume it's going to be Sam's new outfit equipped with vibranium wings. It had been tossed around the internet since his last appearance that we may possibly be seeing Isaiah Bradley again in this season, so I was very happy when we saw Sam appear back on his street with the shield. And as if everyone over at Marvel has been hearing all of the whispers about a possible Young Avengers team up down the road, we even got another interaction between Sam and Elijah Bradley.
I'll be back there.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool seeing Sam, now having had to fight for the shield, pull back up on Isaiah. Although I wasn't sure what his intentions originally were. I thought maybe he would give it to him, but of course that's not what happened. And then I thought that maybe he went there for his blessing, which he didn't get. But it seems like Sam's ultimate goal was to find out what it was that happened to Isaiah and how. It is here that we see Isaiah dive more into the history, sticking pretty closely in most respects to his comic storylines, as detailed by Robert Morales in his 7-issue comic book limited series Truth, Red, White, and Black, which focused on Isaiah and the U.S. Army's attempts to create super soldiers by experimenting on African American soldiers. Turns out that Isaiah was actually the first Captain America, technically, not just the black one, as the black soldiers were test subjects in a program that would become the prototype for the formula used to turn Steve Rogers into Captain America. This was one of the best scenes so far in the show to me, as you could really see the struggles Sam was having, as he believes devoutly in the country he's fought for and defended for so long, but has to reconcile with the truth he's being told. We also get to see him return home to his family and continue forward with the work of fixing his family's boat with his sister. This episode did a great job of further building on the importance of Sam's family to him, which to me is very cool, being that we're getting to see so much depth being given to a character that has been on our screen since 2014. And when Bucky arrived theorized bringing a case with him, we got some really great cuts of seeing the two of them just working together on the boat, as we learn Bucky is just as good a mechanic as he is an assassin. I think here we really got to see the further furrowing out of their friendship, as their relationship has always been shown to us as a bit contentious, and now it would seem they've come to understand and really respect one another fully. And we got to see more of Sam's skills as a talker and him telling Bucky how to move past what's haunting him, as he's not amending his skeletons in his closet, but that he's just avenging them. This was an awesome moment between the two, as I really do believe the future seasons of this show will be built off of the friendship and partnership they share and continue to nurture.
And we're partners.
Co-workers.
It was also cool to see them tossing around the shield in the background like it was a frisbee. The montage we got of Sam slowly building himself in the form to be able to properly wield the shield is also a scene I hope the MCU and its fans remember, as it was one of my favorites, as it really grounded the show for me. Here's this normal guy in peak physical shape who's still not able to wield the weapon of a former super soldier, but through hard work and consistency in training, he's now able to a comparable degree, which is what John Walker's character had already shown us on a lesser scale, as coming into the show, the question of how a non-souped individual would be able to wield a shield was heavy on a lot of people's minds. Seeing John Walker talking to Lamar's family was the show's attempt at further trying to bring levity to his character, as on some level they want us to understand what it is that will ultimately drive his later actions, as from the post-credit scene we know he'll forge his own shield, which we've seen a bit of in the trailer from earlier this week that it looks like Carly kicks aside. It even looks as if he plans on embedding his Medal of Honor into it. It'll be interesting to see how Contessa Valentina will further play into his storyline going into the finale, and how this scene of him seeing himself as Cap will lead to him donning the suit and his own shield again. Closing out the episode, the show has gone very far to leave us in the dark as much as possible as to what's going on with Sharon, because at this point we really don't have anything concrete to stand on. It seems as if they want us to believe there is a possibility that she is the power broker, so that leads me to believe that she actually isn't, and that maybe she's just playing both sides and working with the power broker, who I now believe to be Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character.
Well, these boots are not made for walking.
The episode did reveal to us that it was actually Sharon that Batroc was working for in his mission in the first episode that Sam thwarted when he kidnapped the military guy, and that it was also her that got him out of jail. I don't believe that Sharon actually wants to follow through on allowing or helping Batroc to hurt Sam, but at this point, who knows? I did find it interesting though that she sent Batroc to arm the Flag Smashers, as it's not readily apparent what the angle is here for her in all of this. The GRC hasn't exactly been shown in the best light in the series, and there seems little reason for the audience to even really care about them, so the Flag Smashers crashing their little shindig seems of little consequence to us, outside of finally getting to see the reveal of Sam's new suit and wings. Even from the trailers released before the show started, we've seen clips of the Flag Smashers at this event shrouded in red light, and we now know what that is, so it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out next week. This episode did not disappoint, on the heels of a great episode prior in episode 4. I really enjoyed the continuation of our story here, and this episode really slowed the show down a bit and gave the audience a chance to breathe before what I can imagine is going to be a wild season finale. We also got so many of our questions answered, with Steve possibly being gone, which I don't take to mean his death, but maybe he actually did decide to go finish out his life on Fury spacecraft outside of the public eye, and Sharon ordering Batroc around, and John Walker clearly having an exit strategy. I honestly can't wait for episode 6, as I expect the show is going to end just as wild and crazy as this week's episode started. I'm happy that the show chose to circle back around to Sam and Sarah's storyline, as I feel the further resolution of their plot point has really rounded out Falcon's character for us, and the scenes of her and Bucky flirting are all the humor we could ask for in Sam's response.
But don't flirt with my sister.
Okay.
I will of course be continuing to cover this show here weekly on my channel, and if you feel so inclined, I would love to have you back here next week to continue to cover it with us. Again, guys, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and click that bell for notifications if you've enjoyed our content here tonight. Jump down in the comments and let me know your thoughts. And while you're at it, be sure to check out some of the other content here on the channel. All of the necessary links are listed here below for you to keep up with the coming content and shareables. Please be sure to follow me on all social media platforms. Or just the one you use most frequently. We are slowly but surely building a community here, and I would personally love for you to be a part of that. And last but not least, we have a merch store. So whether you see something you like or just simply want to support the channel, head on over to our shop and grab something, or grab everything. But again, thank you so much, guys and gals, for visiting here with us today. I really appreciate each and every viewing minute of your time you've given us. There's loads of content we'll be sending your way, so I'll be seeing you. But for now, be blessed. And it was written.
Across the nighttime, the city sleep inside. Yeah, hear her voice, shake my window, sweet seduce inside. Yeah, send me out into the nighttime.